I'm really happy to be here again with my really good friend, Lance Schuttler from Ascent Nutrition. Now, Lance, today we're going to be talking about something really, really important, and we wanted to jump on and talk about this because you and I are both really passionate at providing solutions to people, natural, healthy solutions to people to enhance health and wellness. So first of all, how are you? And then introduce what we're going to be talking about.
Hey, Catherine, thank you for having me. I'm doing very well overall and really excited to announce this with you and share this information because it's really some big news, something that we've been working on for a long time and something that you and I have been talking about for a little while now. And so now it's here, and this really is, something massive for the world. And what we're going to be talking about is pine needles, pine needle extract, pine needle tea. A lot of people have heard that. And so that's the information that we've got. But you remember, Catherine, and many people listening remember, over a year ago now, there was several scientists who came out with information and published information on pine needle tea, pine needle extract, and just what pine needles are doing for us humans, and specifically how it relates to respiratory health, immune health, and cardiovascular health.
Yeah, it's so important, this, because there's a lot of information that's out there, but it's getting increasingly difficult again, unfortunately, for people to access it. And actually, years and years ago, when I had my natural health shop and company, my whole motto was it's all in nature's garden. And we know nature does have the answers. It's just a fact of making people aware. And what we're talking about here is how to maintain and rebalance your body naturally to be the most vibrant version of yourself, whether you're a human, whether you're a dog, whether you're a horse. This product's going to apply to all of you. And I've been so excited to be able to have this discussion because, as you say, we've been talking about this product and a lot of listeners will be aware, and they'll also be aware of why we're talking about it quite carefully. But this is a beautiful, just like your other products, it's really clean. It's got really high levels of active ingredients. So let's start telling people, reminding them about, first of all, where is this product from and how is it produced?
Yeah, definitely. So, when this information came out over a year ago, I was talking with some friends and some people that I've been working with, and we just sort of synchronistically learned that one of my friends was living on and around hundreds of acres of white pine trees up in Canada. Okay. And so he knew about how the Indigenous would use pine needle tea, and they make tea out of the pine needles. Sometimes people just eat them raw like that. And it's just been commonly and traditionally used for so long. But when he heard the information about some of these scientists and some of the different compounds, namely shikimic acid, he became very interested, and we sort of started having deeper discussions on, okay, how could we actually make a product out of this? And so what we've done is, now it's been a year in the making, a lot of very hard work mentally and physically to get to this point. But what we have done now is we're wild harvesting up in Canada pine needles from white pine. So that's Pinus strobus. That's the name of the tree that we're getting it from. And what we then do is we take it to a nearby processing facility, make sure it's all clean, passes all inspections, all certifications, things like that. And then what we do, Catherine, is instead of making a tea out of it, because I think most people really just don't have the time or even know how to make a tea, we wanted to make it very simple for people. And so what we've done is we have this 1 ounce glycerin extract. And so we're not holding it in alcohol, because a lot of people know about tinctures, and the taste of the alcohol really can just be sort of a little off-putting. So what we've done is we have organic vegetable glycerin, and so we preserve it in that. And we have a 1-to-4 extract ratio. So it's a pretty strong extract. And I know that you can talk about that a little bit more too, of when we're dosing and giving, certain parameters on what's actually in a product, the stronger for some substances, the better. And with this, we didn't want to just dilute it down to where it's almost not even there. We wanted to actually make a product that people can feel and that are actually going to give people benefits.
Yeah, it's so, so important. And this is why I love working with you so much, because I've been using natural remedies for sort of 25 years now, at least, and with animals and with humans. And everything that you've just mentioned there is so important to the efficacy in terms of how it's going to work within your body. So, you know, you've got to look at where it's from, how it's harvested, how it's processed, how it's preserved, how you can actually administer it to the human or the animal for maximum effects. And you're exactly right. At the moment, people do need and want convenience, because particularly if you're in a stress state, or you've got lots of things on your mind, or you're juggling lots of balls in the air, it's really important that you have something that makes it easy for yourself. But what I would like to say on that is, anytime you sell a natural product, the feeding guidelines, or, you know, the administration guidelines are just a guide, and based on your own individual health status, it's very safe to take more or less depending on what you need. And with animals, I tend to offer the extract by self-selection. So you can put a little bit on your hand and see if your horse, your dog, your cat will lick it off. Completely safe for them to do so, and they will choose the dose they need. So you are so right. There's been a lot of talk about this, and obviously a lot of people were desperate to know how they could get hold of it. The other thing I like about the way you've extracted it and preserved it is the fact that it's something that people can have there ready and waiting. Because one of my pet hates is, don't wait for your health to deteriorate to frantically go and start looking for solutions. Have your natural first aid kit ready, because the first sign that something's going amiss in your health or your animal's health, the quicker you take action, the quicker you'll put your body back into balance. So that's perfect for people to have there sitting and waiting, isn't it, Lance?
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, we're seeing already that people are buying them in bunches because for many reasons. First, because it's, you know, a very unique, cool new product. Secondly, for the uses that people know, you know, both traditionally and more so what's been happening the past couple of years. And exactly, just having it on hand for situations, you know, winter is coming, unfortunately. And, you know, that sort of just lends into the fact that immune systems are a little bit more challenging to keep high and, you know, keep regulated, as we have less light here in the Northern Hemisphere. But, you know, in particular, there's a couple things, and we'll of course talk about this in safe ways, but a lot of people know this global situation that's been happening. And in particular, a lot of athletes are really focusing on how they can support their cardiovascular health. And the pine needles is fantastic. And I'm going to show something here. And it's because of that shikimic acid. So I know that you know about it, Catherine. Shikimic acid is really like one of the big compounds. I'd say the main focused compound in pine needles that researchers have been most interested in. There's a lot of things that we can't talk about that shikimic acid does, but some things that we can. So we know that it just naturally supports respiratory health, lung health, and immune system health. It's also doing that for the cardiovascular system. I'll get to that in a moment. But one thing that I learned that's very interesting is that the pine needles and the shikimic acid actually helps to support the myelin sheath in the brain. So this is sort of like the insulation for the electrical wiring, so to speak, throughout the brain and nervous system. And if you look at the pine needles, you know, it doesn't look like a brain per se, but those needles still sort of branch off in a way where it's similar to how dendrites and axons will branch off of other neurons. So like we've talked about in other shows, the doctrine of signatures and the law of signatures, it just shows what's in nature is supporting what's going on in the body. And, you know, they're sharp, they're, you know, they're kind of spiky, and it just, you know, shows different things like that. But in particular to the cardiovascular system, what it's going to do is it's very beneficial in supporting free radical scavenging and vasodilation. So it helps with blood flow naturally, and it just helps the red blood cells to carry oxygen and do what they need to do naturally.
Yeah, it's just a fantastic product. I mean, I always say, you know, when I was studying for my zoopharmacognosy, which is animals self-medicating, pine needle essential oil was one of the ones I studied in depth. And the thing is, you could literally write a whole book on the medicinal properties of pine. I mean, you really could. You could write actually a volume of books. But the beauty is that the way that you've extracted it and the way that nature provides solutions to ourselves is when you use the whole of the pine needle and extract the goodness for that, nature has put everything in a form that makes it easily usable by us and other animals, which is just fantastic, without any of the harmful side effects. So it's also, I think that's very, very important for people. And we're giving you enough information here so that you can go and look and do some more of your own research just to back up all of this. And obviously the link to this article would be below the video. It's also very high in vitamin C, isn't it, Lance?
Yeah. And, you know, there's a story, it more relates to the pine bark, but it's the same with the needles so when, as the story goes, when, you know, some of the, let's just say the white men came over to the US when the indigenous were here, some of them were battling scurvy. And the common story is that the indigenous made tea out of the needles and out of the barks to help some of those people on the ships. And they were giving them the vitamin C, just like you said, because that's what is needed, you know, in that sort of situation. And also, you know, just like you said as well, Catherine, so many different compounds in there, essential oils, a lot of different essential oils, a lot of different little plant acids that are beneficial, procyanidins, and just several other different compounds that I really wish that we could talk about in what they're doing specifically to the human body. But people can research it and they can find out. One is the flavonoid glycosides and how that supports healthy blood sugar and helps support the cardiovascular system in different ways.
Yeah, fantastic. And one little tip, like one little sort of hack about having this, because it's in the glycerin extract. Obviously, you can ingest it and so can your animals safely. But also you can actually apply some topically as well, which is really good. So one of the ways I quite like to use it, particularly like recently I've had a few trips into the city and things, I will put a little bit on my wrist, because then not only will it absorb into the bloodstream, but you can inhale it when you need to as well, which is another very potent way to do it. But I know people that have been putting it on their chest and having very good effect with that as well. So just a couple of other little tips about ways that you can use it. So particularly if you've got children as well.
Yeah,
no, I'm so pleased you've done this, Lance. I really am so pleased. This is such a fantastic resource for people. Really top quality product that, in my opinion, everyone should have in their first aid kit.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. And, you know, there's one other thing that I'd like to say, and I'll show the product. And of course, the way to get here is with Catherine's links. It'll be in the description. It'll take you right to this product page. So you can see the price on it, $33.99. And I usually don't talk about price, but it's important that I bring it up in this product. So when we were running all of the numbers to see how we could actually bring this product to the world, we literally could have charged $100 for this, and no one would have, I mean, it would have been expensive, but it wouldn't have been out of the price range for what it is. And the reason is that if you go on Etsy and you look at what they're charging for a pound of pine needles, that's just to make tea, it's often over $100. The price might have come down just a little bit by now, but it's quite pricey. But what we've done is we made the intentional choice to make this price as low as possible so we could get it out to as many people as possible, because we know of the global situation. We know people need support. and want support. And so, you know, what good is it if we're charging 4 times this amount because we're going to shut off so many people who can have access to it? So we literally made this as low of price as possible to where we can still, you know, run a business and function. But we kept this as small as possible so that we could just get it out to as many people as possible. And, you know, there's really a lot of companies wouldn't have even done this given the margins of what we're working with on this product. So it really is, we did this for people and to get this out to the world, because this is what's needed really massively right now. So, you know, one thing that I ask people who do buy or who are going to buy is please tell people, and, you know, please send them Catherine's link as well. Share this video. You know, people commonly ask for that, but we're genuinely asking for this because we want people to know that all this information that went viral over a year ago, well, now there's a product for it. And, you know, a lot of people don't want to make tea. They don't want to buy the fresh needles and, you know, go through the process of making the tea, which is understandable. And so we brought this to where it's convenient for people, easy, and still at a very strong amount for people to actually consume.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And this is why, you know, people who watch my channel, they know that I'm so passionate about giving people solutions. And my main thing that I want to leave people with is please, please, please be prepared, you know, because there's nothing worse than a situation happening and then you're not being able to get hold of something that you know that's going to help you or your loved ones. So at that price, you know, even if you've got one in the family, you've got it, and pool resources with loved ones to have these things that, you know, I'm talking about a lot of different things people can have in their sort of natural medicine cabinet to really, really help support them with all the stresses that are thrown at us. I'm so grateful for you to providing this. I really know, I will just tell my listeners, I know how much work has gone into this product. I know how much work Lance and his colleagues put into the testing, the efficacy, the research, making sure that it really is the best of the best for us all. And that's why I just love all your products and why I use so many of them. So anything else that you want to leave the listeners with, Lance?
No, that's it. You know, thank you for those words, Catherine, and thank you for everyone who's listened and who have been customers and who will be customers. We really appreciate it. And this is why we're doing it.
Yeah, that's great. And you do ship all over, don't you? You know, you can choose the shipping orders off there. So what I'm saying to people, like I've had some of my UK friends and I've said, look, you know, club together and place a joint order with a few of you or something if you want to, because there's ways to sort of minimize it, but it's too important a product to not have in your first aid kit. So I hope everyone's found that really useful. Thank you so much, Lance.
Thank you, Catherine.
Speak soon. Bye.